Hi guys, this is Aniket Dasgupta and this is a Diffusion at the Movie special. Unlike the Oscar panel, we'd like to have some diversity on this one. So with me I have... So the Oscars are an age-old tradition which have absolutely no significance on our lives here in India. Because the Oscars are important to us. I'm wrong. They are significant to our lives because whenever the Oscar nominations come out, those films end up being shown in our theatres.
And the Oscars also save us from bhai.
Also, January is a very empty month for Bollywood films for whatever superstition that they have. So the Oscar nominee films actually make a lot of difference to the lives of us film lovers because we can go out and have a good time in the theatres. This is completely our opinions, and so there's a lot of films that we thought were snubbed and a lot of films that we think they didn't deserve to be nominated. The nominees for the best actor in a supporting role.
My choice for the best actor supporting role would probably be J.K. Simmons for Whiplash, because I don't think there has been a character in the last few years that has scared me the same way J.K. Simmons did. And I mean, they're shown a lot of great performances in the particular category, but for me, J.K. Simmons is just walking away with it.
I'd go with J.K. Simmons too. I mean, there are a lot of other performances that I did like this year, but nothing that came close to what J.K. Simmons did in Whiplash.
But to me, the performance that really stood out was Edward Norton in Birdman. It really takes some skill to have Bono on stage with so many people in the audience.
So let's talk snubs now. Which actor do you think got snubbed?
I think Matthew Good for The Imitation Game, because if you've watched The Imitation Game, the way Matthew Good and Benedict Cumberbatch play off each other, it's wonderful. It's great to see the two actors having such great on-screen chemistry. And I think he really, and with this role, he really pushed Cumberbatch to the top of his game. And as a supporting actor, that's really great.
True. I would go with Riz Ahmed for Nightcrawler. Because again, I'm going to go with him for the same reasons. His Jake Gyllenhaal's character looks... Is Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal? It's because of him that Jake Gyllenhaal's character looks all the more negative in Nightcrawler. Best actress in a supporting role. And the nominees are... I think we have a unanimous decision here in the panel.
Patricia Arquette.
Though I also believe Keira Knightley came close, but again I'd go with Patricia Arquette. There's no one else who stood up to her performance this year.
Yeah, I mean, that was... it takes guts to play the same role, the role of a single mother, which is challenging enough for one film.
For 12 years.
For 12 years, exactly. So, yeah.
So for the nominees for the best adapted screenplay. I think Abhin and I have a common decision here.
Yeah.
So we'd go with Fala.
My pick for the best adapted screenplay would be Inherent Vice. Now, this is a book I read when it came out back in the day, around 2009. And to finally see the translation happen on screen, it is quite incredible how true he's managed to stick to the book and still have a Paul Thomas Anderson style to it, despite being adapted.
Okay, our choice here is Whiplash.
Whiplash, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
It should have been in the original screenplay, but
it's based on a short film.
The nominees for the best original screenplay are... My choice for this would definitely have to be Nightcrawler, because I haven't seen something as dark as that for a while on screen.
And my choice for this particular category would be The Grand Budapest Hotel, because it takes something special to write a screenplay like that. From start to finish, you are immersed in this whole fictional world just set before World War II, and that, it's been concocted by Wes Anderson, and it is such a treat to watch, and that's my choice for best original screenplay.
My choice would definitely be Birdman, because as somebody who's grown up with the superhero film genre, it just really goes into a different dimension that I never thought a superhero film could go into.
The nominations for best cinematography are... I'll go with The Grand Budapest Hotel for this, because it's Robert Yeoman and Wes Anderson reuniting to bring that brilliant Wes Anderson sort of aesthetic to the screen all over again. Because in these movies, you often forget what the story is about, what the character's about, and you just want to look at the frame and probably pause that frame and just stare at it for a while. I know I did that. I might have been under the influence of certain things, but it was bloody beautiful.
Well, it's a very close pick because as much as I love Wes Anderson and the Grand Budapest Hotel, I think Birdman really had this energy about it, the cinematography, the fact that it kept moving the camera, and it was like being held in a pressure cooker situation, the way the cinematography did it.
Because I'll agree with Fala on this one. I thought Birdman was an experience that put me in the shoes of an actor on the set of a play. I went into the theater, I waited for it. When I sat down, I was treated to something I have never seen on a big screen ever. And for someone to give me that experience in a film that's under 2 hours is nothing short of phenomenal. And for me, that's my best pick.
The nominees for the best editing. I would actually go with Boyhood from the list of nominees for the best editing. For an editor to put together a cohesive story out of a director's vision, especially from stuff that has been shot over 12 years, is mind-boggling. It's absolutely brilliant and the results have been magnificent. But if there was a snub here, and I strongly believe that film deserved to win it,
Is Birdman.
is Birdman. Okay. From the category, from the nominees, who would
I
you
think
choose?
Birdman 2 would have been my pick, but since it's not nominated, I would go with Whiplash because I think with the drums and stuff, I think the editing had an energy and a rhythm to it, which was engrossing and held you in, and the energy just kept it there.
My pick would be the Grand Budapest Hotel. Because I thought that in terms of the film, never once was I bored. This is usually situations where people are interacting with each other. There's a lot of dialogue, but the way it was cut, it's a Wes Anderson film, exactly. The way it's cut and the way it's put together is just brilliant.
The nominees for the best visual effects. So my choice out of the nominees for this would definitely have to be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I have not seen something that realistic, because the older 70s versions of the Planet of the Apes thing had people in suits play it, and I think even the Tim Burton version had the same thing. So with Rise and with Dawn, I think these movies are exploring a territory that has never been explored, because these are animals which are being played by humans, not robots and monsters,
Not puppets like Yoda.
or Godzilla. So yeah.
Yeah, my pick I would have to agree with Aniket. My pick is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I thought for someone to evoke that sort of emotion from a film portrayed by,
man in
a man
in a motion
capture suit is just wonderful, because I went for the film and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And in terms of visual effects, it's a landmark in filmmaking.
Well, again, I would go with the superhero film X-Men: Days of Future Past. It has
Just for that one scene.
It has that one scene in which Quicksilver just rules the screen for a few minutes.
And then Quicksilver never comes back in the film anyway.
But
That's
there
it.
are also
That's the
these
point.
brilliant fight sequences where they're jumping through portals.
Portals. So the nominees for the best original score are I'll go with Interstellar here, because it's a fanboy moment for me. But Hans Zimmer, I've grown up with his music, and Interstellar, I think when I work, I listen to the original soundtrack of Interstellar, and especially that docking scene, because in my head, as I type, I feel like Matthew McConaughey trying to dock, but I'm just like playing Angry Birds or something on my computer. But I don't know, that music just uplifts your day automatically. It's like I just put on my headphones and listen to it, and I'm like, shit, I'm in space.
My pick for this category would be Johan Johannesson for The Theory of Everything. Why? Because I believe that the score makes the film a lot better than it actually is. It complements it in several ways, and even as a standalone listen, is something that you can plug in onto your iPod or your music player. It is really beautiful to listen to, and that's my pick for this year.
My pick again it's not nominated this year, but Antonio Sanchez for Birdman. The reason it's not nominated because they use a lot of classical tracks in the score, but it has this jazz drum beat going throughout the film, and I've been listening to it the last 2 days ever since I watched the movie, and it just makes everything you're doing that much more important.
The other snub, again, for a technical reason that wasn't nominated, was Whiplash.
Exactly.
And I think Whiplash had probably the best soundtrack this year, but for whatever technical reason, it didn't make it to the nominees. That's what I would give the Oscars
The
to.
soundtrack made the movie. Like
Yeah.
the climax.
Those drum solos and those drum beats, just right from the trailer.
Yeah, the
It's-
climax of the film
Climax
is
Oh,
testament
phenomenal.
to how.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, this is just wonderful.
Just watch it for that on YouTube. Just watch it on YouTube, just for that particular scene.
Just watch the movie. Just
The nominees for the best original song are. There's one song this year that changed everything.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
The nominees for the best animated feature film are. Alright, this year there was one major animated movie which we think was snubbed. The Lego movie.
Yeah, it was criminal. I have no idea why the box tours was picked over the Lego movie.
I have never had so much fun watching an animated film.
I actually beg to differ. I had not heard of The Tale of Princess Kaguya before the nominations came out. And then when I heard that it was a Studio Ghibli film, and I went and checked it out, and it plays out like a water painting. It is really, really nice to watch. It is beautifully animated. And I think Ghibli have been ignored for the Oscars for the past couple of years. They made some really good films, and this would be my pick for the best animated feature this year.
From the nominees. From the nominees, if I had to pick something, I would go with Big Hero 6, because it's a film that takes the Marvel sort of filmmaking and the Disney sort of filmmaking, tosses it together, and you have a freaking amazing film. Which is a good film, but I wouldn't say it's a great animated film. It could have been a Marvel superhero movie meant for kids, but I'd still say the Lego movie deserved to win this year because there's nothing better. So nominees for the best actor in a leading role are. Let's start with the snubs here.
I think we can all unanimously agree that Jake Gyllenhaal was supposed to be here.
Yup, he
Because-
had to be in this category and he's not.
Because Nightcrawler, I have seen people on the internet, look into a camera and say, where is Jake Gyllenhaal? That is not Jake Gyllenhaal. For the 90 minutes of what Nightcrawler's running time is, there is some weird, messed up guy on screen that is
Yeah.
anything but Jake Gyllenhaal. And for that reason alone, he had to be nominated and he isn't. And it's criminal that the Oscars have
I
done
think there was this trailer or teaser sort of a thing which wasn't actually hinting at the movie. It just had Jake Gyllenhaal in character speaking to the camera, trying to convince you to do something. And I was like, this isn't Jake Gyllenhaal.
The-
Second snub.
The other person I thought that deserved to be on the list was Miles Teller. Yes, we know he can act because of films like Spectacular now,
Yeah.
but he's been typecast as that ideal
Yeah,
rom-com boy
rom-com
with two
guy.
night stand, that awkward moment. But in Whiplash, wow, J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller, they both play off each
Brilliant,
other,
yeah.
and it's two wonderful performances that escalate the film to where it is. And I feel maybe he was a little young for it, but I genuinely feel that he had to be on that list.
Talking about age, my choice here would be Ella Coltrane for Boyhood. You see him grow as a person on screen, right from a child to an adult, but you also see him grow as an actor. And I really think he should have been nominated, but it doesn't make sense that he's not there for whatever reason.
My other pick for the category would be James Franco for The Interview,
Wow.
What?
because I think honey dicking Kim Jong-un and getting honey dicked by Kim Jong-un takes a different level of performance that only Franco is capable of.
I'm a huge Seth Rogen fan.
Yeah, but
I get high, watch his films, but Oscars, Best Actor.
yeah, I
If
mean,
127 hours can be nominated, then why not?
He cut his
hand
hand there.
he drank his own pee. Here he made Kim Jong-un sing fireworks.
So, if he had to make a pick from the nominees, they would be.
I'd pick Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything. I thought he pulled off a wonderful Stephen Hawking, and there were points in time where I wondered where I thought he wasn't mature enough for the role when I first saw him in the trailers. But wow, he just blew me away. That film bored the hell out of me, I must admit. But I stayed just for Eddie Redmayne's performance, and it was really, really good to watch.
Talking of someone who played Stephen Hawking, my choice this year would have to be Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game. the nuances that he had in his character. We don't have too much of footage of Alan Turing when he was alive, but the way he built the character around him without being a stereotypical homosexual character was brilliant, and I just loved. I think the movie was elevated because of his performance. Just like Theory of Everything, the movie wasn't all that great if it wasn't for him.
But then there are people who should win the award and the guy who will win the award.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton for the
Yes.
Birdman.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, that's the obvious choice, but
But
I
it is
just-
also the best choice because that guy put in a performance. For example, and somebody who's played characters like Beetlejuice in the past and
Batman.
Batman is like his most popular one, but he's given a range of characters and is finally getting his due.
the nominations for the Best Actress in a Leading Role are. I don't have a snub this year because the actress who I wanted to win has been nominated. Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl. I haven't been that freaked out by a woman. Well, I have been, but in real life. But I haven't been that freaked out by a woman on screen ever before, and this wasn't even a horror movie.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Aniket. Rosamund Pike in this film
Yeah.
scared the holy bejesus out of me because I read the book before I went into the
Yeah.
theatre, and I never knew that she'd translate from book to screen so well
And outdo it in certain parts.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I think my pick would be Marion Cotillard because I just give it to anybody but Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike deserves to win.
Yeah, she'd will. Julianne Moore probably will for Still Alice because Alzheimer's.
Those are the Oscar favorites, aren't they? Disease.
Yeah, it's like disease. So Alzheimer's.
Homosexuality.
Disease and war.
British films about homosexuality and scientists.
American films about war.
Nominees for the Best Director are Wes Anderson for The Grand Budapest Hotel, Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu for Birdman, Richard Linklater for Boyhood, Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher, and Martin Kildum for The Imitation Game. So, your picks, boys.
Richard Linklater.
Yeah, Linklater.
Richard Linklater for Boyhood. I think that's unanimously decided because
Because it is a magnum opus for him because he always makes these films that last a day's period, like all his
Yeah, I
previous
mean,
films last 24 hours.
Richard Linklater has made this entire world which sort of revisits, which he sort of revisits every now and then. But this is the first time that he's taken a 12-year period and compressed it into a film. You can easily say it's one of the best films made in a long, long time, and it's going to go down in history books and probably would be taught in film schools just for the way it's made. Finally, the big one, the Best Picture. And the nominations are American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Imitation Game, Selma, Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. Snubs.
My major issue with the Oscars is that they're allowed to nominate up to 10 a year, and this
Yeah.
year there are only 8. The other two that I felt deserve to be in the list is Nightcrawler, because wow, Nightcrawler as a cinematic experience, it scared me. Brilliant performances from the leading cast. Rene Russo creeped me out. Jake Gyllenhaal creeped me out. The whole premise of the film creeped me out. And for the 90 minutes, all I could think was, what the hell is happening? And for a film to do that to you is brilliant, and for it to be completely ignored at the Oscars is
Kinda
terrible.
sad.
It's kind of sad. The other exclusion on my list would be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, because I don't know why the Oscars have this mentality that blockbuster films aren't really good films. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is probably this generation's Empire Strikes Back. It is that good. It is really, really good.
That's overreaching.
No, I believe that it is the Empire Strikes Back of this generation.
I think Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was snubbed for a lot of reasons, including Andy Serkis for the Best Actor nomination.
Yeah.
But that's something we'll have to live with. I don't understand why the Oscars always ignore big blockbusters and I don't know, the films that a lot of audiences do generally like.
Because the Oscars are picked by a bunch of old white men.
But this had old white men in it. I don't know, I just felt bad that what would be your
My
snubs?
Nightcrawler, obviously, because that was a film that when you're watching, you know that this film deserves deserves an Oscar, but then it doesn't get nominated. But my other pick would be The Interview again, because if a film like American Sniper can be nominated, then
There's not much of a difference.
there's not
obviously.
much of a difference.
Pretty messed up. American Sniper is a good film to watch. I wouldn't say it's. The Interview deserved better because The Interview is a terrible film. Don't listen to Fala. So,
It's a film that you watch when you're high.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So, like I thought American Sniper was a decent film. It deserves to be on
Okay,
that list.
I
It shouldn't
think
win.
American Sniper is basically Clint Eastwood's biography. It's an old man losing his brains. It is exactly meant for the Oscar panel because, as he said, it caters to old white men.
It is
who-
there for the same reason Hurt Locker won.
Yeah, I mean,
Your Avatar and
it's
Social
not a
Network
great
won.
film, but I wouldn't understand
Sure.
why it has been nominated. That's all. I have no big issue with it. But
Yeah, like if you replace that with Nightcrawler, then no one would be
yeah,
complaining.
no one would be complaining. Finally, the films that have been nominated and we'll pick as winners individually.
Birdman. I don't know. I just watched this film 2 days ago and I've been in a trance ever since. And that film is very trance-like. It is a spiral that like a spiral staircase that you just keep going around and around and around. And every frame, you do not know where the scene begins and where it ends, and it doesn't matter. It's just being stuck in that energy, and it's just incredible what the film does.
My film for this year's Best Picture would be The Grand Budapest Hotel because everything that Wes Anderson has done till now has culminated to this particular point. The Grand Budapest is probably his most Oscar-friendly movie ever made compared to what he's done in the past, but it is an experience like no other. It is for the 2 hours of its running time, you are left with a big gaping smile on your face, and it is such a joy. And that's the beauty of cinema. That's what we all want to do. We all want to watch cinema that we can enjoy, that makes us happy, that takes us to a different place, and that's exactly what the Grand Budapest Hotel did. And that's why I feel it has to walk away with Best Picture this year.
For me, Best Picture would have to be Boyhood because, again, it's a cinematic masterstroke. Not just because Richard Linklater, I think, will win Best Director this year, but there's a lot more that has gone into that film, which is probably not visible which probably will not be visible in a lot of other films until someone else decides to make something like this. I don't think
But then again, it'll be a second.
it'll be a second.
Yeah, Boyhood paved. the way.
Boyhood paved the way for, because when we talk cinema, when we talk about taking generation leaps or we show passage of time, it's generally done with makeup or it's generally done by replacing the actor. Like in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, fat Hrithik Roshan becomes Hrithik Roshan. So that gave a lot of fat people hope, by the way. So whatever. It is generally done in those ways, but to have the same actor and the same actors play themselves over 12 years is something that we haven't seen before and probably will not see again in the near future unless someone decides to do it. Those were our picks, and we'll have to actually wait and watch as to how many of those actually win or don't win or are snubbed.
Again. But yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys thought about it. We'd love to hear your opinions on what should have been there, what you think is going to win, and what will actually win.
And
So-
if you have snubs, like there are a lot of films that we haven't watched which should have been nominated this year, please do leave them in the comments below.
And we're not racist. I mean, we liked Selma, we just didn't think it was a great film.
Yeah, I mean, there have been better films on Martin Luther King before this. So, yes.
And don't subscribe.
Why would you say that? Thanks for watching, and we'll be back very soon.